I'm still feeling extremely good. I feel happy. My only complaint really is I'm starting to feel manic. It's been a couple days, so I'm sure I'm heading towards mania. So I'm trying to keep that in check because the higher I get, the harder my crash is when I get low. So I'm taking just enough advantage of it to get, my little side projects done, having the motivation to keep those going, but I'm still definitely keeping an eye on it. I don't want to overdo it, overexert myself, and, my mind. That's usually when I crave using the most as well, so I'm definitely keeping my mind a lot busier. I'm not even entertaining those thoughts really. I immediately start thinking of other things. I distract myself, listen to music, make myself dance, whatever I need to do to not let those thoughts take over. Other than that, though, I still, for the most part, feel really good. I've been really busy, which I like. The busier the better, for me anyways. I've been even trying to find a song to make another dance video to, or even with my gloves, but I am having the hardest time finding a song to inspire me because, as we know, we all need that inspiration to even take it to that next level. I have to genuinely be feeling it on that next level to be able to pursue making a video. So I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. I'm definitely still trying to find a song that's going to motivate me enough and inspire me enough to make another video. So that's one of the little projects I'm pursuing and trying to get back on. The book, it's been, it's a slow start. I feel overwhelmed because of everything I have been through and want included in the book. But slow progress is still progress. I'm still committed and still working at it little by little. As you can see, I'm still working on the vlog, the best I can anyways. When I feel overwhelmed, I put my, side projects to the side, especially the vlog, because that's when I need to concentrate on controlling my moods and keeping them in check versus recording them and showing everyone. So it's still a learning process, but I have definitely found it to be therapeutic. It's nice to be able to express all those feelings, and even though nobody is there at the moment I'm saying it, I know I've got people who are supporting me, listening, and even some people have messaged me to let me know how much I've helped them. So thank you for that. It truly helps with keeping me motivated with what I'm doing, and knowing that I've helped at least one person, that's enough for me. So thank you guys. It's about that time again. I've been fairly stable for about a month and a half, which has been amazing. I've been a little bit more stressed out than usual, so I'm more irritable, anxious, which isn't anything new. When I have important things I need to get done, obligations, I tend to get a little bit more stressed out, which makes me anxious and irritable. I'm just doing my best to maintain them, not let them get the best of me. I keep tunnel vision the best I can, just focusing on what I need to get done. Whatever comes in between that and the end goal is just road bumps. So I'm just going to continue my positive mindset. I've only had these intense emotions for about a week, so I'm going to just keep my eye on it, just see if it's just with everything that's going on, seeing if it's just a stress, or maybe I've just kind of suppressed my mania so much that it's finally kind of ping-ponging back and forth again between moods. So we'll see. I'm more than positive it's a stress, but either way, it's good to just keep an eye on it and stay ahead of it. I've been feeling a bit discouraged in myself lately. Not as much confidence in what I feel like I'm capable of doing in life. but I'm definitely doing my best to not entertain those thoughts. They've been coming a bit more frequent, but I know the moment I start to entertain them, I'm going to spiral down. So I'm just trying to keep my head up. I'm trying to get my confidence back and just do what I need to do, regardless of the bumps in the road, regardless of how tiring this road gets for me. I have got to keep pushing forward. I can't allow these moods to control me, to continue to exhaust me. So I'm just not gonna entertain it. It's not happening. I say that today, and who knows, tomorrow I might have a bit of a breakdown, but if I continue to tell myself that I'm not going to entertain them and that these thoughts aren't valid, then I feel like I can continue to gain more control over them. When I start to feel myself getting overwhelmed from all of my emotions, I'll lay around. I kind of gather my thoughts, gather myself, and just don't overdo it. So I'm not afraid to take it easy if I feel like I'll push myself over the edge doing whatever it is that I need to do that day. Usually it doesn't last too long, but if I need to, I will lay in bed all day. I'll just kind of relax so my body and my mind can recover from whatever moods I was going between or whatever episode may have just happened. I used to sit outside and stare at the sky to calm my mood, so I'm thinking I'm going to start doing that again. I have a trampoline I can lie on and just look up at the sky, listen to some music. I'm hoping it will help calm me and give me another way of coping. The weather has kind of had my mood off, so I'm just doing my best to kind of stay afloat, if you will. I feel depressed and I have little bursts of being manic. It's been going on for almost a week now. I haven't really found the motivation to work out other than a little challenge I'm doing for Facebook. I've literally not done anything else. So I'm just trying to keep my head up and keep pushing forward. Hopefully, once this weather clears up, my mood will get better. If not, I'm just gonna keep fighting. On the days I feel down or depressed, I make sure I at least do one thing that day. Whether that be I get up and take a shower or I go downstairs and clean the kitchen. Today I cleaned the kitchen, did the dishes. I took my time thoroughly. I didn't rush through it. I feel a little bit better because I feel a sense of accomplishment even though it's small. I could have very well stayed upstairs and laid in bed all day, but I made myself get up, go downstairs, clean, take my time, not rush through it. So hopefully later I can find something else to do to keep my mind busy, to, like I said, feel even the smallest sense of accomplishment. It really does help. It doesn't add on to the next day. Dishes don't pile up. I don't feel overwhelmed, at least not as much. So I'm just going to keep at it, keep fighting, and find even the smallest things to keep me pushing. I went from feeling down and depressed to extremely irritable and obsessive. I am obsessing over everything, little things. I'm irritable about everything. The smallest thing just sends me right to 100. So I'm genuinely just trying to stay positive because every second I feel like I'm about to lose my shit. So it's not a fun feeling because I just feel angry. I feel like everything is going wrong because I'm irritable. I feel like nothing's good enough because I'm obsessing over everything. Pictures, editing them, putting things away, how things look and feel when I put them away. It doesn't even really matter. It's anything and everything. It also doesn't help that I'm feeling, I guess you could say, worse because my sickness has been pretty consistent. But I'm now getting little tiny rashes all over my body. There's over 10 at the moment, literally on my arms, stomach, legs. And they're not huge, but they're little itchy, dry red patches that I would assume is a rash. And of course, when I do my research for anything that's, Crohn's related to skin complications or just anything to kind of give me some type of relief, because again, I haven't gotten too much help from the doctors, so I'm literally kind of diagnosing myself and trying to figure out what's wrong because it has been consistent for years now. It just gradually keeps getting worse. I have never had rashes. I have never had what's on my body. They are about a week old now. They have not gone down, not even a little bit. Some of them have even gotten worse. So that doesn't help that physically I just feel like shit again. I'm having a hard time eating as usual. Hard time using the bathroom as usual. It doesn't matter what I do with the supplements. It doesn't matter how well I eat. I cannot find any type of relief. And I do my very best to stay positive because at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And thinking negatively does not help the situation. But how long am I supposed to think positive? Positivity is not going to heal my body. Positivity is not going to make me feel better physically. There's just only so much someone can take, and I'm almost at my breaking point. I accepted my physical struggles, my illness, but to continue to get worse and to literally not have a single answer on what's wrong with you, it's frustrating to say the least. So, I don't know. I made myself start working out again because, like I told you guys, minus the challenge I'm doing for Facebook, I took about a week and a half break from working out. Finally made myself do it last night. It felt horrible because I really wasn't mentally in it, but I knew I had to make myself. I'm going to attempt to make myself today, but I guess depending on whether or not I end up losing my shit, we'll see, but I have to try not to think like that, as hard as it is. I don't know. I'm well aware that, my mental illness is going to always be a roller coaster of some sort, maybe not so many ups and downs, but it is going to always be a roller coaster for me because my moods just go from one end to the complete opposite within a second. But to mentally feel so much better because I've made myself work on things that doesn't have to make my illness worse. They don't need to be excuses. I genuinely do everything I can to mentally make myself better. But in the process, as I'm watching my body deteriorate, it's really hard to keep that motivation and to keep that optimism that everything's going to be okay and that everything you're doing is going to work out. I'm just extremely frustrated. I feel like I'm living an extremely healthy life. I've dropped so many bad habits. I work out extremely regularly. I eat extremely clean, at least for the most part. I do have my days because even when I eat super, super clean, I still get sick. So I do, in moderation, have my treats and have my little cheat meals, but other than that, I do my best to live the healthiest life I can because this is the only mind and body I have. I might have to go to a quick care of some sort if I don't see any improvement, because all these doctor visits that have gotten me no answers, and I'm genuinely not going to put myself through that. I'm not going to go for another year to have people throw my age in my face and tell me, oh, you're so young, you're so healthy. And how do you know that? People are born with illnesses every single day. Every day there are little babies who are born with illnesses. So my age is irrelevant, and it's super irritating for someone to look at your outer appearance and just assume you're as healthy as can be. Yet I'm complaining about the same exact symptoms I've been complaining about for years, plus they're worse, plus new symptoms. I need to get some kind of answer soon. I can't continue to decline. I personally, I feel like I'm slowly dying. Not like in the dramatic sense of there's excruciating pain going on and I'm dying right now as I'm talking to you, but with the pace I'm going and with everything that's happening, I genuinely feel like I'm deteriorating, and something's going to end up happening because I'm sick. I feel sick every single day. It has not let up. I may have stopped complaining about it. I may have stopped posting about it all the time, but it hasn't left. None of it. I could honestly rant about this forever, but I'm gonna try to get back on track and try to get my mind right. Being irritable, obsessing over everything, this mood I'm in is just not going to help anything. It's not going to help the progress I've made. I just have to do my very best not to go backwards, or at the very least to not contribute to that negative mindset. I am going to do my very best to keep pushing forward, but like I've previously said, we all have a breaking point. I'm definitely feeling better. I no longer feel irritable, overly obsessive, down, or depressed. I was down and depressed for about a week and a half when the weather was really funky. Once it cleared up, my mood got better until the irritability and overly obsessive part came in. It wasn't long-lived. It was only for a day or two, but those days definitely dragged. I was pretty on edge and felt like I was gonna lose my shit almost 100% of the time. But I fought really hard to not entertain any of those negative thoughts. I faked it until I made it with all the positivity. I talked myself down, counted, repeated positive phrases. I did virtually anything I could to not be dragged down again. It was exhausting, especially to go from down and depressed to almost feeling enraged. It's tolling on my mind and my body. But I don't let those things determine anything for me. I can't give up. So I figure it's better to fight than to give up, because that's when that downhill spiral starts. So I fought, I did everything I could, and I'm extremely proud of myself for doing so, because the episodes were not long-lived at all, and that's the main thing I'm noticing with myself, is the more I fight mentally back with this mental illness, the least amount of episodes I seem to go through are when I'm thinking like that. And when I kind of get too comfortable, or I get sick of fighting and let go, is when I notice that they just come right on. It's one after the other, and I kind of bounce back and forth between them all. Because of jumping back and forth between emotions, I feel cloudy. I don't feel like I'm thinking extremely straight, and I'm sure you can tell through this little clip, it's hard for me to process my thoughts. It's hard for me to process a single thought because it's just so much going on at once. But that's part of my recovery process from going from one extreme emotion to the other, is just getting my head right. And I'm quite used to feeling cloudy a couple days or even a week after an episode. So that's not abnormal. It's just a little frustrating to have to pause and to just feel slow throughout the day. Like everything's just dragging, including your mind and body. But it's worth the fight. It's worth the struggle. It really is. I've seen tremendous progress, and I would love to continue to see it, and I know the only way to do that is to keep fighting. I'm going to continue this regimen I'm on. I've remained sober except for the cannabis I use to medicate myself, and the world of difference in that itself was amazing. Virtually everything felt better, mentally, physically. I didn't feel so overwhelmed. I didn't feel so anxious self-medicating with all those pharmaceutical drugs. It wasn't worth it. The side effects weren't worth it. I personally would love to remain as natural as possible, and I'm going to do so unless I hit some type of rock bottom, and the only way for me to get better is back on drugs that I really don't want to be on. Cannabis is the one thing I can use for everything. I don't need 10 different pharmaceutical drugs to even out side effects or to treat the multiple mental illnesses that go along with being bipolar. I can genuinely just use cannabis, and along with my own regimen of eating right and working out, I have never felt better in my life. Genuinely, I've been on pharmaceutical drugs before. I've been on nothing. I've tried so many different combinations I can't even count, and the only thing that has made me feel as stable as I feel like I can possibly be is cannabis. And it's absolutely amazing because I have cannabis to help me, and then all the rest is me. It's my work. And I think the biggest thing I see with people who are bipolar, and I'm only speaking about the posts I read personally, I'm in a support group on Facebook, and I read all these posts, and all these people are looking for a cure. They're looking for the right combination of pharmaceutical drugs that are going to cure their mental illness. And in my personal opinion, I feel like that's where the downfall is looking for a cure instead of accepting yourself. The very moment I stopped trying to change who I am to fit in what I thought was a normal society, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders when I just accepted myself or got on the road to accepting myself. I realized it's not about fitting in, feeling normal, or even being average, because what is normal? How do you define what normal is? How do you define that? You can't. So instead of looking at everybody else and say, oh, I wish I could be like them, or I wish I could do that, if you worry about yourself and worry about what you need to do to become a better person, to have growth, everything starts to fall into place. You realize that all of our little worlds combine into this one world, but when you concentrate on your own, the outside doesn't matter. What people think and say don't matter because they don't understand. It's perception. They see from a different angle. They see through a different window. So just because you see something a certain way, there's usually more than meets the eye. But once I stopped looking for a cure, which was a long, long, long time ago, I've always struggled with bipolar, but I spent a long time in my adolescent years trying to cure myself, and I was miserable. I was dark, I was depressed, I'm not who I am today. And I'm just glad I finally accepted myself and made it a priority to figure out who I am, to figure out what works best for me, not what everyone tells me is going to work best for me. So, in my opinion, I think accepting yourself instead of trying to cure yourself can definitely go a long way. Everyone has a different journey. Not everyone who has bipolar or mental illness in general, not everyone falls under a certain umbrella. We're all different. It's case by case, in my opinion. I think the moment you try to put it in certain categories or make things black and white, if you will, that's where the issue falls in, because now you're generalizing everybody. Now you're not taking the time to get to know that individual to figure out what works best for them. There's a lot that goes into it. I think I've become a much better person fighting back. I didn't like who I used to be when I blamed the world for all of my problems, when I blamed everybody else for my episodes. I didn't like that person. I didn't like the person who had no self-accountability. But now that I make it a point to work on myself, to make it a point to let everybody know that my mental illness is never an excuse to act or treat people a certain way, I've just noticed life just becoming such a beautiful thing. I see things so much differently. I enjoy things so much differently. I don't know. I just feel like it's a whole new world when you start working on yourself. It's a whole new universe. There's no limits. Your mind can do whatever it wants, and I want to see how far I can take my mind.